Hi, and welcome to America's Best Tales. We have 3 more incredible animal rescue stories to tell you about today. Once we hear about each of these adoption stories, we'll reward this week's best tale with $1,000. But that's not all. Each of these contestants will win money toward their favorite animal rescue organization. So let's get started. America's Best Tales starts now. Welcome, everyone. I'm Farrah White. Arthur E. Benjamin is busy helping animals affected by Hurricane Sandy, along with his pal Bandit. They're on the East Coast, but they'll be joining us back really soon. The devastating superstorm left many people and their animals without homes. The Humane Society of the United States has already been mobilized from Maine to North Carolina to offer assistance to shelters in those areas hit hard by the hurricane. There is a no pet turned away policy in New York City and other affected areas. This means all animals will be taken in and taken care of. There are a few ways you can help out. First, go to humanesociety.org and make a donation. Whatever you can afford is appreciated. You can also make a donation to the American Hurricane Association on your iPhone or smartphone. If you text HUMANE to 80888, you'll be donating $10 to victims' pets in need of food or shelter, and it's as simple as using your phone to make a donation. Well, let's get to today's show. Our first contestant is Bronx. He comes to us from DFW Lab Rescue. Bronx was once a service dog at the Alzheimer's unit of the Silverado nursing homes. He was loved so much and cared for by all of the residents, but he was also overfed. So he had to find a new home. Here with more on Bronx is Donna Steibel of DFW Labrador Retriever Rescue Club and adopted mom, Jackie Cruz. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks.
Really happy to have you guys here. So you're going to have to tell us more about Bronx's story.
Great. Bronx was in the memory care unit of Silverado, memory care unit of the Silverado nursing home. He'd been there since he was 7 months old, so he was a dog that lived there. They owned him. All the residents loved him. And about 6 months ago, he started having trouble walking and getting up. And one of our adopters has a relative there, and she was concerned about what was going on and worked with the group who was managing Bronx. And he was examined and thought to have had severe arthritis in his hind legs. And this particular person felt that maybe he wasn't given his best chance because the recommendation, because of his situation and not really having single point of care, was to put him to sleep.
Ooh.
And she was just like, and felt that he was too good of a dog. I mean, didn't want to do that. So she contacted us, asked us if we could do something for him. And our incoming team went in, checked him out. He was so overweight and in so much pain he could barely get up off the floor at that point. So we did agree to take him into our program. It was going to be about a 2-week wait, and we need to get him out right away. So the director of nursing took him in, and he wouldn't eat for 2 weeks because he'd been being fed table scraps and anything. They loved him. So, I mean, and there was one woman who was feeding him or was stashing her food from her meals, so he would come see her at night, and just different stories like that. So he was definitely overfed. In that first 2 weeks, he lost 14 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And most of it because he wouldn't eat, because he was being fed dog food.
Sure.
And so we put him into surgery. At that point, he was about 100, maybe 102 pounds. And he had his ACL was what was the problem. It was torn. So we had his ACL repaired. And, you know, right away I took care of him 2 days after the surgery. And he was walking, using his leg already. And he wasn't this mouthy and loud at that point because he was on some good pain-killing meds. But that's Bronx's story. He's truly been a service dog. And Bronx and I went back to the nursing home after he had recovered a little bit, and we had one gentleman who was there who immediately recognized him, and I was told that he asked about Bronx every single day.
Oh.
So Bronx is making a good recovery. I mean, with an ACL injury, Bronx needs to have about 6 months of, restricted activity.
Sure.
And really what we're looking for is trying not to hurt his good leg.
Right.
And while his repaired leg is healing.
Now tell me, how hard was it to make the decision to take him out of the nursing home?
For us, it wasn't hard because putting such a great dog like Bronx to sleep is not the right choice. And so, for us taking him in our program, he's a great dog, and he's a fabulous lab. And I can't imagine, for something, that wasn't, it wasn't arthritis. He does have age-related arthritis, but any 7-year-old dog his size would have that. So then Bronx stayed with me for, about 2 months, and I met Jackie and her family at a meet and greet. They had come to meet another dog, a puppy, or a younger dog, and they fell in love with Bronx.
Aww.
And, he's a great family dog. He's calm, and after being, in the memory care unit with all the residents there for so long, he's just, he doesn't jump, he doesn't do anything, and he's just, still in service, but now Jackie's home.
So his life has changed he lost weight, he
lost weight.
Surgery.
Yeah, he's down to 90 pounds. He was 123 at his
gosh.
highest. And he still could probably use to lose some weight. And he doesn't have a lot of muscle mass underneath in his stomach because of that. And so we're hoping that, as he loses weight and it becomes more active, that will work too. He's really active.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
He knows that this is his little time.
Are we
to
talking?
shine, and
Yeah.
he's gonna make sure that you know him. So now, is he looking for a home?
No, Jackie
has him. Did you see the look she just gave me?
Yeah.
She's like, no, that's not my dog.
Yes, he has a home.
Well, he's beautiful. I'm glad that you got him.
We are too. He's changed our lives a lot. And we have a 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and 4-year-old who love him to death. And
Look at him. Yeah, he's a beautiful boy. It's funny how people don't realize you really can't love these animals to death.
Right.
With all of the feeding, and I can see how that would happen. But
and the other good thing about Bronx is that, he's a 7-year-old dog, and that they're not the easiest to adopt.
Sure.
And so when I took him in as a foster, I really thought, this is for the long haul. I'm going to have him for, a few months. And sure, within 2 months. The first month he wasn't even available for adoption, and I think we met Jackie and her family, 2 weeks in. And
so that made it easy.
It was a great, I really thought I was going to have him.
That's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Now, Bronx is playing for DFW Lab Rescue. If you want to learn more about DFW Lab Rescue, visit their website, www.dfwlabrescue.org. We're going to take a short break, but we'll come say goodbye to Bronx, and when we come back, we're going to meet Amelia. So you have to stay with us and hear the story about this greyhound, because she's a pretty cool dog. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to America's Best Tales, a show that highlights incredible animal rescue stories. Our second story is about Amelia, a greyhound found walking along the side of the road. Here to tell us her story is Sammy Conway, who adopted Amelia, and Susan Lemon with Greyhounds Unlimited. Hi, you guys. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Now, can you tell us about how you found Amelia?
Amelia was found running along the side of the road in South Dallas in 2008. And someone from Greyhounds Unlimited called me and asked if I would go and pick her up. She had wandered onto somebody's land, and the farmer had called us. And when I got there, she was hiding in the bushes, and she came out. She was very thin. Her pads were bleeding. We don't know how long she'd been walking. She was hungry and thirsty, but she wagged her tail at me, and she was not using her right hind leg. She was just holding it in the air, and I took her to one of our Greyhounds Unlimited veterinarians and left her there, and they performed 2 surgeries and could not repair the leg. So this is why she lost her leg.
Did you know what had happened to her?
We don't know. She could have been hit by a car, but we really have no reason or no way to know what happened to her.
So she went through the surgery, and then...
She went through 2 surgeries. She healed very quickly, and she started going to meet and greets to be adopted. And I was not fostering her. I actually only saw her at meet and greets for almost a whole year.
Oh, wow.
And nobody would adopt her. And every time she saw somebody new, she would run up to them and wag her tail like she was saying, "Please adopt me." So I was always very curious as to why she wasn't being adopted, because she had such a great personality. And I didn't know if people were put off because she only had 3 legs.
Yeah, I guess that's a kind of circumstance where it maybe is a little bit more of a specialized fit, or depending on if they have little kids or not. But she seems like she gets along fantastically with everyone.
She does, and she doesn't think of herself as handicapped.
Good.
And she can do anything that any 4-legged dog can do, and she can run as fast as any 4-legged dog.
You know what? I've actually bet that's true. And she gets along really well. Like I mean, she just likes that blanket, but she gets along really well. Now, what made you actually decide to keep her? Was it all of those meetings that you had at the meet and greets, or?
Well, I foster Greyhounds, and when one is adopted, I get another foster. And about a year later, I was ready to get another foster, and I said, "Why don't you give me Amelia, because I know who she is, and I can work with her, and I know I can find her a good home." And when I went to get her, she wagged her tail at me, and she looked at me like she was saying, "I'm going to be living with you." And I adopted her 3 weeks later, because I realized what a great dog she was.
Do you think she remembered you from
I'm
that
sure
day
she
in the
did.
bushes?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think in the Greyhound world, we have Greyhounds that we say are your heart hound. Well, Amelia is Sammy's heart hound.
That's so special and nice. And she seems just so relaxed
She's a great dog.
and calm. And it took a year, literally. It was a year before you.
It was a year.
Fostered her.
Yeah. And I just wondered why I didn't adopt her sooner.
Aw. Well, she's here now. Now, I hear that she's in some type of special training.
Well, she's been through 2 levels of obedience training, and she has graduated at the top of her class.
Nice.
And she did everything that all the 4-legged dogs could do. And her next step is to go into training to be a therapy dog. And we're hoping that she can work with the returning war veterans. Because she is such an inspiration, and she is such a hero. She's my hero.
Oh, yeah, and she has a story of her own, and she has survived. How old do you think she is?
We know she's 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
Greyhounds are tattooed in their ears
Really?
when if they're a part of the racing industry.
Right, when they're registered with the National Greyhound Association, their right ear has their date of birth in it. And so she's actually, in the Greyhound world, she's considered a senior.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit about your organization.
Greyhounds Unlimited was founded in 1991 by Hope Combus. So we've been in the Dallas, Fort Worth area for 20 plus years now. We're dedicated to finding loving and caring homes for retired racing Greyhounds, as well as just Greyhounds that are found.
Sure. Which you've clearly done. Now, where was she found? What part of the city?
It was in South Dallas.
It was in South Dallas. So do you travel usually all over Texas, or mainly in the Metroplex?
We're mainly in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. However, we pick up dogs all over Texas, and not limited to the Texas area. We actually can go up into Oklahoma. We have volunteers that are willing to drive 8+ hours to pick up a Greyhound if it's in need.
Oh, wow. And how many Greyhounds do you think you have in your system?
We run normally about 45+ Greyhounds, and we adopt out anywhere from 130 to 140 Greyhounds per year.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. You're doing a lot of good. Now, Sammy, how many fosters have you had?
Oh, normally I take the fosters that take a longer time to be adopted, like the seniors or the handicapped ones. And I would say probably 30 or 40 over the past 10 years.
Oh, wow. And why do you choose the ones that take longer?
I feel that whoever wants to adopt an older dog or a handicapped dog is going to be a good person. And I tend to be more willing to let them go if I feel that it's going to be a really great family.
Well, and it's probably harder to find people to foster dogs that are older or slightly special needs dogs. Well, that is a wonderful thing that you're doing and that you, I'm sure, continue to do. And I love that Amelia has a home with you. So you guys seem really lucky. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming and telling us about your organization. So it's a good one. Amelia owes everything to Greyhounds Unlimited. So she is playing for this amazing organization. You can find out more by visiting greyhoundsunlimited.org. But you can't go anywhere, because still to come, we'll meet our third and final contestant, whose name is Izzy. So we will tell you more about her, and we'll get to meet her when we come back. Welcome back. Our third animal rescue story today is about Izzy, a little dog who was neglected and abused as a little puppy. But the story has a happy ending. Izzy was adopted by Joel and Amy Besco, who are here with Amy Eero from Ears. Welcome, you guys. Glad that you're here on the show. Yes, and you've got this beautiful little Izzy dog with you. Now tell us how you came about her.
Well, do you want to tell her story?
Well, Izzy was surrendered to the Trice County Animal Shelter when she was about 6 months old. She'd had a rubber band placed around her snout, and her skin and her sinuses had become embedded around that rubber band. So our organization was called, we took her to the vet, and the vet, did a surgery, removed the rubber band. Our organization fostered her, and then the Bescos saw her and adopted her, I guess 3.5 years ago.
We were actually looking for a dog online, and we found another dog first, and we wanted to adopt that dog. And they called us, Izzy's foster mom called us and said, that dog has already been adopted, but we have this other dog named Izzy. Maybe you could check her out. So we looked at her profile online, and to be honest with you, I didn't want her at first, because we thought, she's damaged. She's had this rubber band. I don't know if I can handle that. We talked about it a long time, and then we were like, well, let's just meet her. Let's do a meet and greet. So we met her. We met up with Izzy and her foster mom, and her foster mom was carrying her under her arm, and Izzy was like swimming towards us, just trying to get to us, and we were like, that's it. We have to have this dog. And she's absolutely changed our lives, and she's the funniest, sweetest, happiest dog in the world.
Yeah, please look at this dog. The ears in the bow. So when you first saw her, did she still have some of the scarring?
Yeah, she had. Well, they had to shave off the fur from this whole area and to do the surgery. And her foster mother said to us, she's going to have this scarring, and it won't be noticeable. And, her fur grew back within a few months. And, now you can't even tell.
No.
She's just, you wouldn't even know that she ever had an issue there. And
now, was she, because I guess you were there when they had first found her, Was she just completely emaciated? Were they doing that so that she couldn't
The worst
eat?
thing that you noticed, number one, was the smell. You know, obviously when there's an infection, there's a very pungent, you know, foul aroma. The other thing that the vet talked about was you could see her snout had enlarged. It looked like a pig snout. That's how swollen and, you know, enlarged her sinuses were. So those were the things that people noticed right off the bat initially. However, you know, the vet that we used did an amazing job, and she is so full of life and energy, and such a great story of how, you know, turned around something so horrific, and now she's just a great little family dog.
She is a great little family dog. What kind of dog is she?
She's mostly Schnauzer, about 90% Schnauzer, and a little bit of Terrier, just enough to give her lots of personality and
Lots of spunk.
lots of spunk and attitude and
Yeah, what did you call her earlier?
busy Izzy.
Busy Izzy.
Yep.
So I bet she
Yeah.
has a whole host of nicknames.
Oh,
She
yeah,
does.
she
She
does.
does. She's a handful, but we love it. I mean, she's just she's so good with our 9-month-old daughter.
Really?
They cuddle together, and she loves to give her kisses, you know, which drives some of our family members crazy. They're like, oh, don't let the dog lick your butt. We're like, oh, she's just giving her some loving. But yeah, she's great, and she loves to play chase with the neighbor dogs through the fence. And
Okay.
but you know, you can always tell that she's had some trouble in the past, because if people who aren't around her too often and they come visiting, they'll be playing with her, and if they try to grab for her head, she'll start yelping and like, get away from me. You know, she's definitely got that dark past, and you
Okay.
can tell. And we have to be kind of careful around her. You know, she doesn't like yelling. You know, if you're watching a football game and you get excited and you start yelling, she will
Yep.
immediately hide under the couch. You know, she doesn't like yelling or sudden movements coming at her, but you know, she's definitely got that trouble past. But you know, we're so thankful that whoever that stranger was that found her on the side of the road brought her in, you know, because it changed our lives. And
Have you noticed, has she gotten better? Is she any less timid than she was as far as when you're reaching for her, or is
Yeah.
that staying pretty consistent?
In general, she is. You know, I think she'll always have a little bit of that. You know, but in general, she's just such a happy little dog.
She is such a pretty little happy dog. And so do you guys usually take her for walks, or does she play in the yard? Do you?
every day we
Yeah.
take her on
Little
walks
both.
every day. In
Yeah.
fact, we have to spell out walk. If we say, see, look,
Oh,
when I say
yeah,
walk,
her ears
she's
just
like,
perked up.
that's our favorite thing in the world. So we have to say W-A-L-K, you know, and
Which she's going to figure out before
yeah,
too long.
and she knows how to spell it already. If we spell out W-A-L-K, she's like, I think that means walk.
Yeah.
But she loves it. She loves to meet people on the side of the road. You know, we'll pass and they'll be walking their dogs, and of course she's got to go over and say hello, and she just loves other dogs, especially big dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she loves big dogs, and she thinks she's, you know, a big old girl.
Well,
she
she
forgets how
is.
little she is.
Well, that's so nice that you guys adopted her and were able to see through that. I think maybe a lot of people would have reservations
Yeah.
about getting a dog that had had that type of trauma, but it's so nice and clearly has been so rewarding to you guys to have done that. So you would recommend it?
One of the best things we've done.
Absolutely. I mean, it changed our lives. We're
That's
so
amazing.
blessed by her, and
Sweet little Izzy.
we love it.
So she was adopted through EARS. That is her animal rescue organization of choice. Learn more about EARS Education and Animal Rescue Society by going to their website, earstexas.org. Now, when we come back, we'll reveal this week's America's Best Tale. So stay with us. So we're back, and it's the moment of truth. Time to reveal the animal rescue story that touched us the most. So let's recap our 3 stories. Bronx, the chocolate lab adopted through DFW Lab Rescue. Amelia, the greyhound found along the side of the street. And Izzy, the abused puppy who found a family through ears. Now it's time to reveal our winners, starting with 3rd place, and a check for $250 to your favorite charity is going to be Bronx.
Thank you.
And he's got his good boy bone.
Boy.
Do you want that? Oh, yes, you do. Oh, maybe. He got it. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
He's a good dog. Our 2nd place is actually going to go to Izzy. Yay. For being such a sweet baby, and she gets a little muffin treat. A muffin, it's not a muffin, it's a mitten, but that's okay, I was close. Which makes 1st place go to Amelia. So that's a $500 check actually for you for 2nd place, and a $1,000 check for you guys for Amelia. And she wants her mitten too. So are you guys glad that you came on the show?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We're so excited.
Is there anything you would have done differently, or would have you said everything the same?
Oh, totally. We had a great time.
Oh, we're just dropping cookies everywhere.
That's okay. That's what we're here for. And you notice that Bronx doesn't have as much to talk about this time.
No,
as he did the first time. So he just wanted to show off a little bit.
I think so. He just wanted to make aware.
He did. Well, that's important. It's important. Well, again, thanks you guys for coming on.
Thank you so
Appreciate you coming. And that's what's so nice about this show is you really do have 3 different winners. You have organizations that are very worthy that are getting money, and it really is to help these sweet babies who need our help. So thanks to all our contestants again today, and join us next week for 3 new animal rescue stories. And find out more about America's Best Tales and For the Love of Dogs at AmericanDogRescue.org. And as always, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. For Arthur Benjamin, I'm Farrah White. See you next week.